Good morning, everyone. I hope you're doing well and keeping warm wherever you are, especially if you're in Nairobi. It's been a very cold week, but we are grateful for it anyway. I am so happy to be here. My name is Rena Hicks, in case this is the first time that you are logging on to MoneyWise Live. And this morning, we will be looking at integrity in business. How can you run a business that is full of integrity and succeed? You know, integrity for me is really about honesty and sincerity. It's really about, that doctor making a decision to do all that they can for their patients, even when it's inconveniencing for them. Integrity is about, if you're in, agribusiness and you supply chicken, it's about using a weighing scale that is not doctored in some way, just to make sure that you do the right thing. Integrity is about people with respect. Whether they are from your culture, whether they are not from your culture, whether they're from a different race or not, it's about treating those around you with respect. And integrity is about keeping those commitments that we make about our services and our products and doing whatever it takes to make sure that we supply well, even if it costs us in some situations. And so this morning, I'm joined by Joram Winamo. And Joram Winamo is the CEO of Sandbox and Wild. And they basically are involved in helping entrepreneurs succeed in their businesses by being efficient, by being effective in the area that they are called to, and growing these businesses to be the best that they can be, not just in Kenya, but to be potentially global businesses. And I'm so thrilled to have you on the show.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much for coming, Joram.
Yeah, thank you so much for inviting me. It's really exciting to be here.
Yeah, I'm excited to have you. You've done so much where entrepreneurs are concerned, and you're so innovative in finding solutions that work. So I'm so thrilled to have you here.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, maybe let's start with who's Joram.
Okay, so I am the CEO of Sandbox and Wild. One company was born out of another. For the longest time, I ran Wild International, and we were still a training, coaching, and consulting company. We've evolved through many things. Started out as a training company, added consultancy, and now we work primarily with entrepreneurs. And just as a result of working with entrepreneurs, we've also now attracted the attention of a lot of corporate organizations who want us to do project management around SME projects and that kind of thing, or donor organizations. But in the process of running our business, we ended up coming up with a new and innovative model where we bring together different suppliers, professional services under one roof, and we were able to access funding where we put up a center just behind Yaya called the Sandbox. And this is a place where you find all the professional services you need, whether it's a lawyer, we have an in-house lawyer, whether it's finance or digital marketing or branding or HR, everything a business needs. So we call it a one-stop shop. Entrepreneurs or SME owners can come there, and we take them through a journey of helping them come up with a strategy, rebrand their business, come up with a marketing strategy, and all these different things. And it all happens under one roof. Yeah. So we have meeting rooms, training rooms, everything happens in that one location. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So I will come back to Sandbox, but before we do that, I want to have this conversation of integrity. What's integrity in your perspective?
First, let's just say it's a tall order in this country. It's something that's very difficult to keep because it will test you to the corners of every nerve you have if you decide to keep it. But I guess just as you said in your intro, it's a lot to do with doing what you say you will do, being fair, being honest. If you promise a service to a client, sticking by what it is that you said you'll do. If something goes wrong, you notify the client,
Yeah, like, by the way, that's another thing. People don't tell the truth, or even just say, I don't know. I thought I knew, but actually I don't know. Or I made a mistake.
Yes.
And you carry on.
Or things haven't gone according to plan and we have to, amend. But basically, just being sincere, being honest, doing what you promise you will do, and always upholding, ethical standards in everything that you do. So doing things the right way. But that's why I say it can be quite a tall order, because not a lot of people believe that that's possible in this Nairobi or Kenya of ours, and I understand why.
Is it possible?
I think it is, which is probably where it starts, that you have to decide that it is possible before you even start doing your business or going about your business. Because if you don't put it as a firm conviction that it's possible to do business with integrity and succeed, then the distractions are so many, the temptations are so many. Even the evidence of people who say they do business with integrity but cut corners here and there are so many that it's so normalized not to, keep integrity as you do business. And it's very easy to come up with justifications why not to. And again, as I say, you'll keep being tested in all those areas. I've been tested in all those particular areas. But at the end of the day, I say it's possible because we've done it as a business. One of the things we signed up for this year was a blue certification. That's there's something called the Blue Company certification, which is a commitment, an outward commitment that we're a company who do business with integrity and will not bribe, will uphold ethical standards, will pay taxes and all these kinds of things. So we've been able to do it as a public statement because it's something we've always upheld throughout our 17-year history of running Wild and now Sandbox.
Well done.
Yeah.
So who gives this certification, this blue?
So this is an initiative that was put together by several individuals. I know that the foremost champion now is Dr. Julius Kipngetich at Jubilee Insurance, the CEO, the regional CEO there. And so he's one of the champions, but it's really an initiative of different business leaders who say, can we do this thing as a personal commitment rather than forcing people to go through an audit and all those. And it's actually free, so you can sign up and get the badges and you can display it on your website and everything.
Fantastic.
But it's a public statement that we are, people who do things with integrity. But you and I know that many people make public statements but don't necessarily.
This is the thing. It's about the PR.
Uphold
which is true. I mean, you look at corporate, a lot of companies' core values state integrity as one of their 5 top values. Even individuals state that I'm a person of integrity. Or the other word they use is I'm trustworthy. But really, when you look at what they do and some of the compromises they make, they're actually questionable. And I guess the reason is we are so focused on our bottom line. It's about making that profit. It's about making sure that I pay my debt or making sure that my employees have a salary at the end of the day. And I know that in situations where I've lost business because somebody has said, but for you to get it, you need to do this thing. And there's 16 others who are waiting to do it. And I said no and lost it. And people look at me or in that situation when I say something like that, even somebody listening is listening to us and wondering, that is just some idealistic nonsense.
Yes. There are people who completely don't believe that it's possible. Let's start from there. Because I've been in many scenarios myself, even, with people who publicly profess being people of integrity, even people of faith. And, but you get deeper into business discussions and they start to propose going about something in a way where you're cutting corners or, somebody is going to give a bribe on behalf of, whatever consortium is going to do this, and even finish that meeting with a prayer. Like it happens. It happens in government meetings, in government projects, in, donor related projects.
Wow.
So somewhere in our culture, we normalized, corruption and giving bribes and these kinds of things. And, somehow we can live that dual reality where I say I'm a person of integrity, but when it becomes, convenient, I will cut corners and justify it and then continue claiming that I'm a person of integrity. That is something that we have completely normalized in this country. But something that definitely needs to change.
Wow. So in your view, so that then people can see that it is actually worth it to be people of integrity, how can integrity actually improve business?
I think because, this is, for us, it was a conviction right from the time we founded the company. It did inform every strategy we came up with. And when we started facing difficulties, I particularly remember a time around 2007, 2008, when there's a certain government certification we needed to continue in the training business. And it was extremely difficult to come by. They would give you a very clear checklist of things you need to, provide to be able to get it. we do it, but then something would always come up that we're always missing something small here and there, and we were really given the runaround for about 2 years.
2 years?
Yes, before being able to access that. And what happened during the 2 years is that we actually really began to rethink our business, because we realized if we continued down the path we were, because we couldn't access big business because of lack of that certification, and our cash flows just started dwindling first and foremost, and then our business actually began to die. And it was very clear that if we continued down that path, it was completely going to die. So we had to sit down and ask ourselves, what can we do to stay alive? And thankfully, and I also say sometimes these innovations are what end up opening you up to very big opportunities. We started to look at 2 ways of survival, and one of them that came up was, doing consultancy services that did not require that certification, so we could be able to engage with companies. So we innovated in that direction and started to help companies with their strategies and, background processes. But the other thing is that we also realized that, people who needed help building their businesses or entrepreneurs, and that's where the whole entrepreneurship development thing came in.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah, so in our bid to survive, that's when we ended up saying, okay, can we do something for entrepreneurs that's different, that's within what they can afford? And we came up with a new model where we started doing cohort-based trainings for entrepreneurs on a monthly basis, and they pay a little bit of money as they go along. And that ended up just blowing up and growing, because at the time nobody else was doing it the way we were. Now there's quite a number of competitors, but at the time we were really pioneers. And as the number of entrepreneurs we trained grew, corporate institutions started to notice that we understand entrepreneurs in a special way, because we're dealing with them in large numbers and on a daily basis. So they started to approach us, large banks, insurance companies, or, donor organizations funding entrepreneurship projects. So that opened up another whole avenue of business. Needless to say, we completely killed what we were doing with corporate training and now just focus on entrepreneurship development. And it's become a really, really big business for us. I think you might have seen, you follow me on social media platforms. We've done large projects with people like Facebook, and that has opened us up to doing big things with government and all sorts of partnerships and institutions. Despite the things we've dealt with in the past. So the things we did to innovate are what ended up opening up very unique opportunities for us, and we've ended up in a space where, in fact, I tell a lot of people that a lot of times when we are pitching business nowadays, most of the time we're not even pitching against anyone, because what we're doing is so unique and so different that nobody else is doing it as we are. And even as we built the Sandbox model, that built an even extraordinary, innovation on top of what it is that we are doing already. That collaboration with other experts as a Sandbox has given us access to clients that we would not have previously had access to. So again, the things we did to survive ended up becoming the innovations that built a very unique business for us. And now we are more or less riding a wave in a space where, it feels like there's so much opportunity for growth, not just in Kenya, but continent-wide and also across the world.
That's amazing.
So for me, at the end of the day, it's completely worth it. I think integrity also helps you build the muscle to be very good at what you do and to be very innovative, because you're always trying to circumvent hurdles and obstacles that people are placing before you. But in circumventing those things, and legally, might I add, you end up creating new things that nobody else is doing, and therefore it opens up, big opportunities.
That's
in that
so
space.
Interesting.
Yeah,
that's actually really interesting, because what typically happens is when that obstacle comes, you get discouraged, and you're like, you know what? I'm not cut out for this business.
Yeah.
Everyone else in this industry is doing it, so let me leave.
Yeah.
And so you close your business down and you move on.
Yes.
But what you guys did is sort of pivot into another, within the same offering, but in a different client, basically, and still were able to do what it is that you want to do, but not even bigger than even you had
much bigger.
thought.
Like we realized that that market was so much bigger, because where we were previously had so many competitors, but where we ended up now, it's just, there's hundreds of thousands of entrepreneurs to deal with, even just in this country alone.
That's amazing.
Yeah, compared to the few, corporate trainings that we were doing. At that point. Yeah.
Wow. Wow, awesome. By the way, guys, I have Joram for literally until 8:45, so we have 30 minutes. If you have any questions on entrepreneurship and doing business with integrity, please ask them on Facebook. just put them in the comment section and we'll see them. If you're on YouTube, go ahead and just tell us where you're watching from, post your questions, and we'll be able to answer them. So, I'm reminded of, the companies that were there a few years ago. They're still there, but there was a season, maybe, I don't know, 10 years, not 10 years, maybe 7 or so years ago, when we had an influx of companies that were literally fleecing people, pyramid schemes. Those are not the kind of companies I'm talking about when I talk about integrity. That's outright theft, right? So here is a situation where somebody is looking at an opportunity and they've been told it's just like a bribe here, or I don't know why doctors are in my head this morning, but a doctor who is like, I need to pay off this debt. Let me just schedule surgeries that you really don't need to have surgery, but let me just do surgery, and that surgery will help me pay off this debt or this payment that I need to do. It won't, it's not life-threatening, but let me just let me just do this small thing. I mean, like a little envelope, really, at the end of the day, is not going to affect whether the sun comes up or not. What's your view on that, and the way that even people who you would not imagine doing some of these things end up doing them? What's your view on that?
I think it again goes back to what I was saying in terms of one culture, but maybe also what we have allowed to flourish and what we've ended up celebrating, which is wealth, money at all costs.
That's so true.
One of the conversations that I keep having is how the media, would celebrate people without questioning where their wealth comes from. So when we see, the heroes of society of the day, who end up even becoming our political leaders, as people who very clearly at some point in their history, we either knew they were thugs in prison, dealing drugs and all sorts of things, but we now sanitize them when it comes to the mainstream, stories of how we talk about their wealth, and we almost don't care how it is that they got there. It sends a very strong message, even say to the young people that make it at all costs. It doesn't matter. We will celebrate you anyway. And that has ended up, becoming commonplace, where greed is something that we accept. Because if you look at all the scenarios you've mentioned, really it's that I'm being greedy. I can make a living, but because I want to maybe live a lifestyle that is more affluent, then I do things that will help me get money faster in that particular direction. I'll do extra surgeries because I have a mortgage to pay in a place that I really shouldn't be living, but because I must live in that area, I must drive that car, I must show my friends that I go on holiday here, I must do this, that, and the other. So it's really that thing of we've not built delayed gratification or being content with enough, because a lot of us already have enough, but once you break that barrier of enough and start pursuing more, then it never becomes enough. You hear people have stolen billions, but you'll hear they steal more billions the next year. So, I mean, even if you give me 10 million, I can make so much of it, So why do I need a billion? With a billion seated in, T-bills, you never need to work another day in your life, but you'll have someone steals more and more and more. So I always say there's no upper limit to greed. Once you break that barrier, you keep going and going and going. So at the end of the day, it's really to tame that and, teach yourself contentment at the level you're at. Because once you're able to then control that, then it becomes normal and you can say no because there's nothing putting you under pressure to get, more. And as you mentioned, it also starts with the small things. The day you justify giving that small envelope, after all, it's only 2,000 shillings, it's only 10,000 shillings. Before long, it's 100,000 shillings, it's $1 million. I think as we were discussing earlier, there are people who we knew as people of integrity, but somehow they end up in parliament or in government. And before long, you're hearing scandals about them, then those scandals are confirmed. And you're like, what happened to this individual? They were relatively happy until a certain point, but once they get into government, it's because now they start being tested at a level where they had not built the muscle to say no to. So if you could not build the nose from the 2,000 to the 10 to the 100, then even $1 million and $1 billion now you cannot say no to those ones. So I think it starts with the small things, and like I said, it starts with making the conviction that you can actually do this, and then as you go about your day to day, it, in my opinion, completely spills over even from work. That when that policeman, you're rushing to work at 8 a.m. and they stop you and there's something wrong with your car. Are you willing to pay the price, or are you going to give out the 1,000 or 2,000 bob so that they let you go? And, because integrity, I would say, the way this country is set up, it can be very inconvenient in the short term. Extremely inconvenient.
I mean, your whole week can be about that police officer encounter.
The number of times I've been driving to Shags and, I get stopped, and it could even be a fabricated thing because they know you're in a hurry and all sorts of things. And you end up having to go to court in Kericho or something, for a traffic offense because they know it's very, very inconveniencing. And imagine I've had to do that, and I've had to find ways around making sure that I follow the law on something like that, which can take weeks. It can take a lot of money getting lawyers to help you sort out those kinds of things. But if you make that decision to be a person of integrity, then you have to be very ready for these kinds of inconveniences because they'll come, and they'll come in their large numbers. You also have to get ready to turn down a lot of business, a lot of things that could literally change your life overnight. There are people who come and propose things and say, look, all you need to do. In fact, some of them even already have the scheme already laid out, and all they need is your signature, and they'll carry it out in the background without even knowing what you did.
Or being involved even.
Yeah, being involved. So, but you yourself, something is not right in this particular thing, and you have to be ready to say no in those instances, and be the person who's still driving that very old car amongst all those new ones parked next to you because everyone else is doing it. Like, you have to be ready to pay that price. But I guess at the end of the day, maybe, once you make that conviction, it's about, that I'm willing to walk down this path and take everything that comes with it. Yeah.
So it doesn't sound very fun.
Yeah, it's not rosy, especially when you're deep in the heat of it. It's completely not rosy. It's not glamorous at all.
I know. I mean, it's just insane because the inconveniences I've had to experience myself have been painful.
Yeah.
The question then is, what benefit is there?
Yeah.
I mean, surely, can I really succeed, or am I just giving myself unnecessary pain?
Yeah. So I think, as I'd said earlier, for us, the things we've had to learn to do to cope with all these forms of temptations is what has helped us eventually build the things that are helping us become successful. Because you begin to realize that there's also executives out there who are looking for ethical people of integrity because they themselves are people of integrity and do not want to work with suppliers who are always tempting them and giving them envelopes. I've had stories that sometimes you just find money in your account. When you're a procurement officer, you want to do things the right way, but you just find you've already been compromised without even knowing.
Wow.
Money was found in your account, and from there it's downhill all the way. They can even use it to fix you later on. So there's people on that other side who are also looking to work with people of integrity, and we found certain suppliers who are like, certain clients who are like that ourselves, who are looking for a supplier like us, and when they find us, they are so relieved, they are so happy, because they are like, finally I can work with somebody who I know will not start inviting me to a hotel or sending me on holidays and all, because even for them it's a problem, it's an inconvenience.
It is.
And so when those kind of people are few and far between, but over time we've been able to put together quite a number of them who are very happy to work with us. Some of them, we started out by doing very, very small things, many years ago. But over time, because I've learned we can be trusted, we are very good at what we do. The deals keep growing and growing and growing. There's a certain multilateral organization that we've been working with that we've literally gone from doing, 25K per month type of work, and they've invited us to tender at the global office because we've just done such amazing work in the past, and we've ended up growing. And you see that also comes with the financial benefit of doing work at that kind of level. Yeah. There's other organizations that are looking for people who can really deliver, and so we've ended up doing countrywide, projects because they know that one, we are not going to cut corners. The data they get from us is the real data, yes. And they are looking for that kind of, very good information. So even the people who end up working with, people who cut corners, at the end of the day, you have to expect that somebody who's willing to bribe you can also lie to you, can also cheat you in how they do the work. They can cut corners in how they do the work. And that's why at the end of the day, you find that a lot of these people are not able to, very interesting phenomenon, they're not even able to scale out of this country because they never built their businesses out of value. They built it out of, bribing people and the like. And when they go to another country and they can't find people to bribe, their business cannot flourish there. But for us, because what we are doing is based on value that we've created, we can literally take our services anywhere. I've done work in about 9 countries across Africa, and it's because we keep being referred, these are the people to work with, these are the people to work with. I got a call from a regulator the other day, and her first statement was, I've been told you're the people I must work with.
Wow.
And that's what reputation around integrity ends up doing for you, where people will refer you without any reservations whatsoever, and your name now precedes you.
Yes.
This year I got a call from an agency in Germany that wants to pilot something in Africa. And out of the blues, they've been told again, these are the people you must work with, these guys deliver. And so there are a lot of benefits where down the line when, you turn the corner and in a sense, there's momentum on all the planting that you've done and it starts to, grow and bear fruit, that, a lot of work just starts coming your way. Sometimes it's almost unbelievable how many, calls or emails we'll get out of the blue of somebody saying, I was talking to this individual and they say they must work with you people, and you get into a process of contracting with them. So I guess at the end of the day, it might take time, and it has taken time for us. It's been quite a number of years, but at the end of the day, when the benefit starts to come through, one, you walk into them and just take them without looking over your shoulder. Number 2, you have nothing to fear. Like, I have nothing to fear. If anyone was to come and do an audit of me today, KRA, any government agency, I have nothing completely to fear or, think that I need to look over my shoulder. And that's something that I would want to keep, throughout my life. Peace of mind is probably something you cannot quantify or put a price tag on. Even if everything was to crash and I was to start afresh, like, I just have so much confidence that I can rely on the reputation I've built, on even the expertise and what we've learned in terms of being agile and rolling with the punches. I am completely secure in, even if I was to start from scratch, that I can rebuild again, because all the value we built was not built on external factors but things that we learned along the way.
How do we inculcate that though, in our culture as Kenyans? Because I'm just like, it's so sad how integrity doesn't, when we're reviewing people, particularly leaders, we don't really think about integrity, but that's a discussion for another day. Thank you, Jackie, for watching. Freddie Omondi is watching from Iringa in Tanzania. Thank you so much for watching. We have Enos, who says that he thinks the most difficult thing for many people is paying taxes and statutory fees. I mean, Joram, the guys who run 2 books. There's a book for KRA, and then there's a book for the shareholders. Because this is how much profit we're really making, and then there's a book for KRA. Kerry.
And it's even so much more painful when you go through the process of complying with all these requirements, and then someone else just comes and picks that money on the other side and uses it for their own.
And by the way, if you're watching from another country, Kerry is Kenya Revenue Authority.
Yes. So, but I mean, one of the things I always say is just right from the beginning, get used to doing it. And it's very painful. There are times I've actually, written checks to KRA to pay off taxes in terms of VAT or, payee, even when I'm not getting paid myself, because I have to keep that compliance. And in times when, of course, there are so many tax rules to comply with. So sometimes, someone will do an audit and you'll find that maybe you forgot to do something, or there's a tax you're supposed to have paid that you didn't. And so you find that you have penalties. And even in those cases, we've had to go through the process of paying and clearing that. So you can imagine how much money that you could have done the 2 books and hidden it under the covers and all sorts of things, but you just have to pay. So I mean, the building muscle has to be in very many different directions, and that's why I tell even small business, just get used to paying it now. I know it's painful. You could do a lot with that money, but just get used to paying it, because when you get bigger, 14% it starts to become a very large amount, and I hear a lot of people justify it's going to be stolen anyway, so I'm doing the right thing by not paying. But I'm just like, just pay it and get used to paying it, and at the end of the day, when you now get your money, it's your money and nobody can come claiming it. I think you've seen in the last few years, KRA has really gone after some people, and you see them having to pay back taxes of quite a lot of money. Of course, they come and dispute and all sorts of things, but I guess that's a benefit of making sure you're always above board, because nobody can then come down the line and claim that you haven't been doing something and therefore now owe a lot of money. I know a lot of companies that literally just had to shut down because there was a claim of 400 million shillings, and that is more than you make every year but you've not paid a certain kind of tax the last 10 years and you shut down completely. So just pay your taxes, lock it in your mind, it's not yours. Even when you look at that fee note you're billing out, don't look at that percentage of tax as yours. It's not yours at all. As soon as it comes in, just pay it out. And KRA,
and I mean not the organization, but just taxes is something that is such a pain, but it must be done. Just as you mentioned a company that I know companies that have had to close as well, and sometimes it's because of not knowing. It's not that you know and then you've decided you're not paying. Sometimes it's ignorance, or you forget, or you pay people. Deduct the pay, and then you don't submit it to KRA, or whether it's VAT or other things that you withhold, or withholding tax you withhold and then forget to pay. Now the thing is that if you don't do it, it can actually cripple your business. So compliance might be an inconvenience and a painful thing, but if there's one area you must comply, it's with the Kenya Revenue Authority, because it then affects your ability to even get business, not even just business, but you even as an individual, if you're looking to do anything, a lot of times you're asked for a tax compliance certificate, which you cannot get if your business has not been complying with paying taxes. So.
And it's going to get even harder and harder, because I know KRA is implementing a really, really good business intelligence system, so they'll be able to pick out trends of people who are probably cheating and covering it up. So I'm just like, just comply. It's a lot easier, which is why, again, like at the Sandbox, we have all sorts of different experts who can help you just know all these different things you need to comply with, whether it's tax, around finance, or how you operate, or HR, or that kind of thing. Again, this is where advisors come in as handy, because when you work with those kinds of people, again, it may be a cost, but you could pay someone 50 or 100,000 now to advise you on something and end up saving millions and millions later on.
It's so true.
So it's really not a cost, but an investment into your business.
Fantastic. So Declan, thank you for watching. Is watching for on YouTube, and he says the story of innovation out of a tough situation like the one you described earlier is quite inspiring. It's very, very, by the way, well done.
Thank you.
And then John says he's watching on Facebook, I think. He says, I have a procurement officer playing the role of a marketer. Is giving him 10% crossing the line?
For me, I'll put it bluntly. It is crossing the line. And,
completely.
Yeah, completely. And there's no way you can, justify that. One of the things we've done on our end, and it has ended up even becoming our reputation, even towards those kinds of people, is you just declare up front, we do not do this. So even if this conversation would end up...
You declare that to who?
To anyone we are pitching to. We make it clear in our pitch right from the beginning. We are a company of integrity. We would never do X, Y, and Z. We're not insinuating that they might end up there down the line.
Just so that it doesn't
but we are putting it out up front that this is how we do business. Even when I'm invited to meetings with people who we could potentially be pitching with, I always make sure I put in a story there of how somebody tried to compromise us and we completely refused to, so that even that person, if they had it in their minds to think that they can go down in that direction, they just kill it down right there, so that we don't waste each other's time. Like just end it. And so declaring it and letting people know up front is a very good way of defending yourself, because for me, I'm like, I don't even want to get into other tough conversations down the line where now I'm thinking thinking, all this, like, because it sometimes can be really difficult to say no. Last year we had to say no to a really huge project because, you know, somebody started just slipping in conversations of, you know, if we do this thing, then you have to include this person, and, you know, you have to pay this person and this, that, and the other. And something we had invested in for a very long period of time, we just had to keep saying no, and eventually even I struggled walking away from that one because it was really huge. But at the end of the day, after lots of deliberations, talking to my accountability people around me and, you know, advisors and that kind of thing, it was very clear we had to walk away from it, because we knew that once we open that door, you don't know what else will come down the line. And even if at some point, because you've declared, people are like, no, don't worry, okay, we can just go ahead and do it. You don't know once you sign the contract if when it comes to your payment, that's the point at which they hold you, you know, ransom and say, you know, if you don't pay, we're not releasing this check, because that happens a lot in government. So I'm just like, you'd just rather avoid the situation completely. There are times nowadays I even say I'd rather be at home sleeping or even playing with my children than out, you know, doing a deal like that's just making me scratch my head. Yeah.
So true. Yeah. So John, just is crossing the line. Harold is watching on Facebook. Thank you for watching, Harold. He says integrity is built in the small things we do each and every day, which is true. Yeah. It's, you know, like you said, it's in the small things and the small decisions that you're actually making daily that, you know, can lead you to compromise. And once you start going down that line, it becomes harder and harder to say no to even bigger deals.
It does.
Jennifer Karina, thank you. That's my mommy. Thank you for watching. Thank you for watching, Purity. Patty Madegi. Oh, she's always watching. Thank you so much. She is tuned in on Facebook as well. So now I want us to talk about Sandbox and just the interesting offering there, because it was actually the integrity story, I think, that led you there. You know, so maybe you can just tell us a bit of background. How did you come to that position of getting together other professionals to come into one place, which you call the village formula?
Yes, the village. So, I mean, what ended up happening is that from around 2010, we were running an entrepreneurship program, and it had different classes. So you'd come and learn about innovation, you'd come and learn about strategy, about systems. And in the second half, we collaborated with a lot of specialized experts in finance, HR, you know, branding, and this kind of thing. And so, you know, the program would run for a year. We shortened it to 6 months, and we'd always have to keep having these different experts coming in and, you know, teaching course on finance or legal or that kind of thing. And with time, we just started to ask ourselves if we are all serving the same clients, believe in the same values, because we also, you know, put together a lot of them, all of them, you know, integrity is a requirement. And we would then discuss about the challenges we are having, the lawyer and the challenges they're having, wherever they are with integrity, you know, the HR person and this, that, and the other. But then we also started asking, if we are serving the same customers, why are we in different locations? Because all of us had different offices, in houses turned into offices in, you know, different locations. And it started to become really chaotic to manage our program, to manage our meetings, to manage, you know, creating content and all these sorts of things. And that's where the idea came about, that maybe we could all be in one location, and for the convenience of this program and for the convenience of serving our clients, because I would have someone come, we do their strategy, but they need someone to help with tax. So I'd have to tell them, now our tax guy, his office is in Westlands, and they have to get back into their car, drive all the way to Westlands to meet with the tax guy. Or our HR person is all the way in Wayaki Way. Or, you know, the lawyer is all the way in Milimani Road. So it started to become clear to us that because one, we had already built a relationship, we were serving the same clients, and we had so many common experiences, especially of struggle
and shared values.
So we started to explore how we could be all under one roof. At one point, I remember we did a study of how much rent we were paying across the board, and we realized it was a lot of money, and we had so many duplicated costs: kitchen, internet, you know, front office, security, this, that, and the other. So like, if some of these are consolidated, we can actually, you know, save a lot of money. And so once we did that is when we started to design the concept of, okay, if we were all under one roof, what would the center look like? Do some people need private rooms? Others are happy with co-working space. And we ended up designing it. So today we have 23 different professions, under 23 different professions under the Sandbox. All of us are different companies, but specialized in what it is that we do. All of us also have our own different clientele, because it was also difficult for them to refer business to us and that kind of thing. But we're like, now that we're under the same roof, when you invite your client and they come in and they're like, what's this place called the Sandbox? Then you're told of all the other services that are available. So it's a no-brainer for you as an entrepreneur to realize, oh, I can get brand, HR, marketing, everything under this one location. We also have training rooms, coaching rooms, and meeting rooms as well.
So who gets access to those rooms?
So, we as the consultants now can invite our clients and book a room and run a consulting session there. So we don't have to go to a hotel anymore. And we have a supplier who brings in food. So it saves them money again, because they would have paid 2 or 3K per person in a hotel. There are 5 of them. That's at least 20K and that kind of thing. So now we can eliminate that cost. Just bring in food and, run the consulting assignment. We have training rooms there as well. Don't need to book hotels anymore to do that. So it ended up becoming a very efficient way of serving SMEs, also a very efficient way of us referring business to one another. So you can imagine 23 people, if we all have 10, even just 10 clients, it means that the pool of clients, because we are all non-competing consultants, is about 430. It's a lot more, of course, than that. So it's ended up working very well for each of us, because we are able to refer business to each other very easily, collaborate very easily. Several of us can tag team onto a project and help a client from different points of view, not just one narrow point of view. And it's a work in progress, but we are really building something unique and special. And as we look into the future, we've realized that this concept hardly exists anywhere around the world.
I don't even know anywhere else.
So we are looking at opening up sandboxes in different locations where entrepreneurs are, so that we just make it easy and convenient for them. I know the one place that people are just keep telling us, you need to come here, like yesterday is Mombasa. So we are looking at even going out into the counties and opening up sandboxes there to just help the businesses grow. What that has given our business is also a lot of access to a lot of data around the behavior of entrepreneurs and how they build their businesses. So that's what also makes us particularly valuable to the corporates, because SMEs are a very huge either market or client pool for them, or a demographic that they are targeting. So we've been helping quite a number of corporates now also strategize on how to create products or come up with strategies towards SMEs.
This is amazing. Amazing. Okay, so we have like 3 minutes. Aika, thank you so much for watching. She says, yes, normalize tax compliance. And she says, some people say, I don't want to give money to a government that does nothing for me. By the way, I've done a lot of work for Carrie, and that's the response I get. In fact, I get so much backlash. Why would I give a government that's doing nothing for me? What would you say to them?
I think the flip side is, if you don't pay taxes, you don't have the moral authority to hold them to account on anything. And sometimes I suspect that's why we don't have protests out in the streets, because most people who should be going out to protest actually don't pay those taxes. So they don't feel the pain when it's stolen. The money that ends up there is through VAT and all other forms of like fuel tax and that kind of thing. So I always say, if a lot more Kenyans paid direct taxes and felt that pain, especially entrepreneurs, we would have so many more people protesting on the streets when it's stolen. So I also just see it as a moral obligation to pay. And that if you're on my social media, you see how much noise I make about government anytime people steal, and that's because I feel it's my money that's just being taken out of the till.
And you have the moral authority to make the noise. So please pay your taxes, guys. Zev, thank you for watching. He's watching on YouTube, and he says, good discussion on compliance. Indeed, it costs highly when that is not done, not only financially, but in your integrity and in your voice to national matters, which is what you've just said. Lucas Maranga, thank you for watching. Good conversation. He says, Joram provides an ideal partner for supporting SMEs in their growth. And then Zeph says again that indeed it incurs costs when not done, and not only financially, by the way, mental wellness. And then David Wagema on Facebook, thank you for watching, David. He says, way to go, Rena Hicks and Joram, thank you for standing up for integrity. This is what Kenya needs. Guys, we've come to the end of the show. Believe it or not, it's over. But you can catch up with Joram. Joram, tell them quickly how they can find Sandbox in case if there's an entrepreneur who's watching wondering how do I. So you can go to our website. It's www.sndbx.ke.
sndbx.ke. We shortened Sandbox and made a brand out of it. And there, yes, you can see even all the different services that are offered. Like I said, there are 23. There are many. They're always different too. Just, difficult to say off the top of my head. You can also email us karibu@sndbx.ke, and there you'll find everything from what Wild can do for you to all the other different partners. And we would be very excited. I mean, we've done work with quite a number of Kenyan businesses, some that have even gone regional, and so we believe in this. It's possible. It's really possible to succeed down that path.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Guys, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for your comments, for your questions, for your vulnerability as you've shared. In case you're out there and you are struggling, with your finances, wondering now what do I do? Or maybe you've saved and you're wondering what to invest. I have a book. It's called Moneywise: Create, Grow, and Preserve Wealth. And it's a great way to start if you are just wondering, where do I begin? You can get it on Amazon for just $4.99 on Kindle. You can also buy a hard copy on Amazon. You can get a copy at Textbook Center. And if you don't want to do all of that and you want to order a copy, feel free to WhatsApp 0707-633-433. But in the meantime, subscribe, guys, because the content is going to be amazing as we continue to go. Thank you so much, Joram. God bless you so much. And well done for doing what you've done so far.
And thanks for inviting me, and I'm a big fan of yours as well. You know that. So let's build this movement together.
Yes. Businesses with integrity.
Yes.
Have a fantastic day and a wonderful weekend ahead. God bless you.